right, so I'm here with my client Zach. So Zach, could you just tell us what exactly you were struggling with before we started working together?
Sure. I've had colitis or was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis about 9 years ago. Um, and stool frequency and urgency has just been a constant problem. Haven't had much pain, not a lot of bleeding, but frequency and urgency have just been an issue leading up to um, uh, getting in touch with Dr. Nall. Um, I was in the double digit stools every day. So a lot of time in the bathroom.
Gotcha. Um, all right, and then what made you decide to work together with me? Was there something that you saw that kind of made sense, or what was that thing that made you um, decide to work with me?
Um, so, I've spent a lot of time on the internet looking for some way to fix things, and did come across a video that he had posted specifically for colitis and referenced something that I'd never heard anybody mention before, and that was really targeting the liver and targeting um, viruses. And it seemed like just it was a perspective I hadn't heard before, and an approach that seemed like made sense.
Nice. All right, and then can you tell us about the results that you got from the work that we did with the food and some supplements? What changes did you see? How did it go for you? How was the overall process?
So the protocols are simple but not easy. It's definitely a very big change to um, the typical standard American diet. But once I was in a groove, of course, there was significant weight loss, so that was definitely positive. Blood pressure down, um, and it took a few weeks, but we finally zeroed in on something that really did cut into the frequency. So I'm definitely in a much better place now than I was 2 months ago.
Nice. All right, so frequency of bowel movements has decreased significantly.
Right, to where I was double digits a couple of months ago per day. We tried a few things, and there's been some ups and downs, but averaging between 2 and 3 typically now.
Nice. And the changes to food that we did, you did really great with implementing everything. You had a real positive attitude and you're able to execute. Are there components of the changes to the food that we made that you can see yourself like continuing with even after we're done working together?
Absolutely, yeah. So previously it wasn't very structured. Typically, wouldn't even have breakfast. Might even just snack throughout the day for lunch, and then a typical home cooked meal for dinner. Um, but I think starting with a breakfast that's meaningful to your health in the mornings is something that definitely is going to continue. Celery juice, I will stick to that as best as I can. Um, yeah, I guess that's the main thing. But then also cutting out the no foods, as you call them, which is probably the most difficult part because they're everywhere. Um, but I do have some food sensitivities in my family, and so we're accustomed to having a modified um, diet to begin with, and having to ask the questions at the restaurants and things like that. So not too difficult to continue most of everything we've done.
Nice. And then one last question. Would you recommend this program to other people who have IBD, colitis, Crohn's, things like that?
Absolutely, yes. I'm not quite where I want to be yet, but we're just much better place than I was
Nice.
before we
Because
started.
you had tried a couple other diets, a couple other programs for this
I've,
previously, correct?
I've tried everything. Yeah, I worked with functional physicians. I've done anti-inflammatory diets, specific carbohydrate diet, gone the pharmaceutical route, lots of biologics, a little bit of everything.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. You did great.